Here we are at the field on a lovely February day. The sun is beating down, there's hardly any wind, and no flyers apart from me. Where they all go, we do not know. But anyway, obviously they've not ventured out. It's not all that muddy. And providing I've got something to adapt the battery terminal, we'll be good. I'm sure we have. Don't laugh. No, there will be. Yeah.
Oh look, that's a nice little aeroplane there. Oh,
Yes,
it's got no propeller.
So it hasn't.
It doesn't have a propeller on it.
What he's trying to say is, I may have actually taken that from my hangar, brought it to the field without a propeller and don't have one that fits. On the other hand, it might have fallen off walking across the field.
So if anyone
Just
finds a
don't
propeller, you know where it belongs.
Either way, flight there will not be with that one.
But this is going to be marvellous. Just remind us what it is. It's not that obvious from looking at it.
It says it's a Stinson. It looks like no Stinson ever.
So it's standoff scale.
Well, yes.
If you were in Calais
if you
looking at
stand in
it,
another county, or yes, Calais. So there, with the bow and arrow.
T-Link we don't know, and then a number. I think it's their phone number if you have a problem. There we are. Yeah, so how do we know?
Well, it says Stinson there.
Yeah, but
what we really need, if there are any American light airplane enthusiasts, very knowledgeable gentlemen, I'm sure there are,
yes,
watching, and they can persuade the president to put back his plans for invading England a bit longer, they can find time to tell us what kind of Stinson it represents.
sounds like an excellent idea.
Excellent.
I don't think there's much chance
Always
of
like
your
to further
suggestion.
transatlantic relations.
Special relationship.
No controversy here. This is a flying site.
No politics, no religion.
But it's good. It flies all right, and sometimes it'll take off from a muddy field. In a very short order, in fact. We'll see if it does. Quite like this one. It bounces well. Ah. All we've got to do is find the runway. The runway is nowhere to be seen.
Well, use your GPS.
Yeah. If I get the Google Earth out, you better find it. Oh, that looks all right. That'll do. Let's see if it goes off quick. The photographer is not going to walk right in front of you. Are you ready?
Yep.
Let's see if this works, shall we?
Yep.
Oh yeah. Short takeoff and landing.
Now you're saying it's a Stinson, but which Stinson does it represent?
Well, none that I've ever seen any pictures of. It doesn't have an elliptical wing for a start. It doesn't have anything that looks even representing a big radial engine on the front. And I don't even know if they had a tricycle undercarriage. Perhaps there is one, I don't know. I'm not an authority on American businessmen's planes from the 1930s, 50s.
Comments in the section below, please.
Comments in the sections below from somebody who knows stuff.
Or send a postcard.
It's nice and aerobatic though for a high wing jobby. Can you see any of this?
No, no, no.
I'm not going to do any really low aerobatics to fake it, but
Because this camera's got one of those silly screen things on it instead of a proper viewfinder.
No, it's a nice manoeuvrable little plane though. Doesn't use big batteries, and it flies when it's a bit windy. And as you see, it takes off very well indeed, even from a bumpy field. Almost a bush plane, look. Can't do touch and goes though, because it will fall over. That was an untidy roll.
Oh.
It can't hang vertically. Ah, there you go.
Can you bring it in a bit closer just for a minute so I can get a bit of a handle on where it is?
There
Got
it
it. Got it. I can track it now. Okay, thank you.
Fly by. You good with that?
Yeah, lovely. Thank you. Oh.
Got it from a man on eBay for 25 quid. A couple of years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it must be at least that, I think.
It flies pretty slowly too when you want it to, because the soil is light. It has what a lovely day though, isn't it?
Yeah,
considering this
beautiful.
is February the 6th.
Yeah, quite. I think my autofocus is trying to focus on the clouds.
Well, they're nicer, aren't they?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Oop.
That's all right. Everything's under control. Nothing to see here. Oh, there might be if I don't do something drastic. There we go. Doesn't need much of a field either, really, size-wise. It could fly this in quite a small space
Yeah,
if you wanted,
yeah.
or you had to, which we might.
And it's made of what kind of foamy stuff?
EPO, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the one where you can see all the cells, but they're pretty well.
It's quite bouncy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very rubbery.
Yeah, I know.
Very rubbery.
And you're flying it on this rather swish
I know. They're quite
transmitter,
nice,
which talks to you every now and then, especially when you forget to turn it off and it's in the car.
She talks for ages then.
Yeah, doesn't say much on the field.
No, well, no, because I could make it say all sorts of things if I had things like telemetry and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it does tell me when it's batteries. When it's done its end of its timer run. That does depend on me switching on the timer, mind you. But you can switch it on with the throttle if you want. But if I do that, then it just seems to keep stopping whenever I go into glide mode. It stops the timer, so that kind of confuses things a bit. So I don't really do that.
And it's a
So I do it
Spectrum
on the-
DX6,
the newer, the new
as
one.
opposed to the old style Spectrum
Yeah.
DX6, which is also called a Spectrum
It's
DX6.
DSMX, not DSM2.
But it doesn't tell you in the title of the...
Nah.
No, not very bright
It's
thing
not
to do.
backward compatible with their old DSM2 receivers, as
Right,
we found out. So I kept the 6i, the old silver one,
yeah.
for those purposes, which are mostly in indoor planes that I can't change it for something else. So it worked out in the end. But this has got a massive model memory, something ridiculous like 250,
Yeah,
of which, of course,
you've only got half that number of models, so you
Well,
won't
I've only
need
got about-
you won't need more than 100.
about 10 aeroplanes altogether, actually. Because I've run out of hangar space. Really. Nice to get a bit of sun on your back this time of the year.
Yeah.
It's rudder as well as aileron.
Coming in from right to left.
20 seconds remaining, says Madam Mate, the transmitter lady. There she comes, and slowly approach, and bit rough. But it doesn't, it lands, it arrives quite slowly, so it's all right.
Yeah. It's not going to it's not very heavy either, so. Here is the so-called Stinson.
Yes. This is about as much like a Stinson as a Reliant Robin would be.
But it's a nice model airplane.
We shall
It's a good
disable
one.
the battery in the interest of safety.
Yes.
We shall there we are.
That's a good
Just
idea.
a 1300 MA 3-cell jolly stuff
Yeah.
in there, which it holds in nicely.
Yeah.
It's quite firm.
Yeah.
I think it's EPO.
I understand that you're using these newfangled lithium polymer batteries.
Oh yeah. If it wasn't for them being fangled, electric flying would still be in the dark age.
This is true. Nothing wrong with 6 U2s stuffed in there.
Well, in a torch, I'd agree.
No.
As you can see, we've got a little bit of a gopher problem here.
Well, we've got
Feel
lots
now.
of holes. That's a little one.
Yeah. Where's the big one?
There's a big one over here, look.
We're not sure if it's gophers or archaeologists. It's one or the other.
This one, I think it's a competitor to the established Channel Tunnel that's just...
As you can see, that's clearly the outline of a Yeti footprint.
There's another one there. So Yeti with 2 feet. There's a clue there. Oh, hang on a minute, no.
I dread to
Yeti
think
with
what made that
3
other
feet.
hole.
I was trying to stay away from
Here's a
rude,
big lad,
rude
isn't it?
jokes, as
Right.
this is on public display, this video. Look at this. We have to contend with all this.
Yeah.
Treasure seekers with their metal detectors. What do they expect to find?
Detectorists, I think.
Detectorists, all right.
Excuse me while I take off my speaking transmitter and bid you a fond farewell.